So you're starting your freelancing journey and you're ready to get your first clients. But what actually happens when you do get that client? How do you communicate with them? What types of files do you need to send and where? Well, fear no more, my friend, because in this video, I'm going to share with you my entire client process and system. From the first email to sending the brand guidelines and the final files. Ciao besties, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Viviana, I'm a brand designer, and yes, I am finally making this video so you can stop asking. The client process is probably one of the hardest things to figure out on your own because there are a lot of tutorials and videos on how to make logos, how to make packaging, how to work with mockups, but not a lot on how to get these creations that you have made to your client, how to show them. That is a huge part of working with a client. It's not just about the branding itself, but it's also about selling the branding. Having an organized system when you are working with a client will make you look super professional and like you know exactly what you're doing, even if you don't. If you do have a system, your client will respect it and follow it. If you don't, it's just gonna be chaos. And not to mention that a system will make everything easier, faster, smoother, and you won't have to spend endless time doing some boring admin work, and you will have more time to do what actually matters, designing. So let's analyze together every step of my own client process that has been working out for me ever since I started my business. But before we start, every document and template that I'm gonna be mentioning in this video will be available for purchase on my new designer shop. Link will be the first in my description, but more on that later. So step number one is the inquiry. My clients inquire my services using a form that I have on my website. In this form, they will tell me a bit about their business, what types of services they are looking for, their budget, their vision for the brand, you know, all the basic information that I would need at the beginning to see if the client is a good fit or not. This form is on my website, but if you don't have a website yet, then Google Forms is a really valid and free option. The reason why I use a form and I don't just leave my email is that this way I immediately know what they're looking for and if I want to work with them. I ask them to link me a Pinterest board so I immediately know if we are on the same page, creatively speaking. And also it just speeds up the process massively. After getting the inquiry, I contact them via email and I ask follow-up questions to get more information about the project scope. Usually at this point, a lot of designers have intro calls. I'm personally not a big fan of calls, so I just prefer to discuss all these details via email unless the client's requests a call for some specific reason. Step number two is the project proposal. After knowing exactly what the client needs, I'm able to put together a proposal which will have an overview of the entire project in terms of timeline, investment, and deliverables. I also add some information about me and my business, and this is very important, I walk them through every single step of the process so they already know how the project is gonna run. This is a great way to show your client that you are in charge and you have a system. So professional. And I also add other details like payment plans, so I let my client know all the different ways that they can pay the final rate, and an FAQ section. For my proposals, I use Notion because it helps me calculate rates, set up calendars, and there's a lot of information and numbers that need to be added to the proposal, and I'm not really that good with numbers, so Notion works perfectly for me, but you can always use a PDF and send it via email. After the project proposal is approved, we move on to signing the contract and paying the invoice for the deposit. Always remember, guys, never ever start any work without taking a deposit first. It doesn't have to be 50% necessarily. You can let your client choose how they want to pay, but do not book them without a deposit. For both of these steps, I use a paid service called Bonsai, which already has some templates for brand design contracts. Another thing that I ask my clients at this stage of the process is their business information. This kind of depends on where you live, but here in Italy, for tax reasons, I'm required to ask some additional information, and I'll do that then. Alright, the contract is signed, the invoice is paid, the client is officially booked in. Once they are, they will get access to their personal client portal on, you guessed it, Notion. This is not sponsored by Notion, but hey guys, love you. I cannot express in words how important it is to have a project management system for your client work. Your portal will be the one and only place where all the details and information about the project will be. You will add timelines, deadlines, you will upload all of your file and have a section for your client to leave the feedback. I strongly advise against doing any of these things via email, especially the feedback. With messages and emails, there's always a risk of information getting lost, and your client only has a limited number of revisions, so you have to make sure that you make all the changes that they have requested and not miss anything. Also, again, it will make you look super professional and organized. It will save you so much time, and your client will will always know at what stage of the process we are. They will feel like they are an active part of the project, which is very important to make sure that the client knows how to navigate the portal, because it can get a little overwhelming. I add a video guide where I walk them through every section. This is just a screen recording, nothing too fancy. And at the beginning, they will also find a welcome document where I give them an official overview of the entire project. Step number 5 is the actual beginning of the process, and it's the very first thing that your client will need to do on the portal. That is where my clients will fill out a questionnaire that I will later use to build their brand strategy and their creative direction. In the questionnaire that I use, which I will link below, I have 2 sections. The first one is about the business, so I will ask questions about their goals, their values, what they want to achieve, their ideal target, and all of that. While in the second part, I will focus on the creative direction and the visuals. So I will ask questions about colors, fonts, what they like and don't like, and I will ask them to link me an updated version of the Pinterest board. If I'm working also on the brand strategy, this will lead to a call where the client and I will discuss all the answers, and I will ask any additional questions if I have them. This way I have enough information to start the work and move on to step number 6, the brand strategy and creative direction. Over the course of 1 week, I will build the client strategy and creative direction using everything that we have analyzed so far. I will put together a 28-page document where I will go over the brand's mission, goals, the personality, the positioning, and I will also talk about their target and create some target personas to give them a more realistic idea of the people they're trying to reach. Of course, I also do a competitor analysis to see what else is out there and how we can stand out from them. Then we move on to the creative direction, where I will put together 2 different mood board concepts with their different creative direction in terms of colors, typography, illustration style, and generally visual communication, which the client will have to choose after receiving the document. This way, the client personally chooses the direction that the branding is going to take, and we are sure that we are both on the same page and ready to finally start the design process. During step number 7, I will take up to 2 weeks to work on the brand concept. I personally use the one method concept. I've switched a couple of months ago and I immediately saw the improvement. If you just present one concept, you are able to put all your energy and your effort into one concept and use all the ideas that you have come up with thanks to the brand strategy and creative direction in that one concept. After enough time has passed and I am finally satisfied with my work, I am ready to present the concept to the client. I will do that by putting together a presentation where I will showcase the entire logo suite and some additional elements. In this document, I go over every single design decision that I've made. I explain why I chose that font, why I manipulate the logo in that way and what it means, and so on. If you explain everything that you did, first of all, your client will understand and feel included in the process, because your decision might make sense to you but not necessarily to someone else. And this will also help you sell the concept and have it signed off immediately. Of course, most of the times there will be some tweaks and refinements to make, but generally your client will be on board because you have designed that concept using the strategy and the vision that you have agreed upon, and you explained how you did that. In the presentation, it's also super helpful not just showing the logos but also mock-ups to show your client how their branding could look in real life. This is what I call the brand application, which is different from the actual collateral assets. After the concept is signed off, again, we move on to step number 8, the collateral assets. This is when I start working on some additional elements like packaging, stationery, social media templates, literally anything that the client asks for. The client will provide me all the information that I need, like the guidelines for the packaging, for example, and it will only take me 1 week to finish the design and present them. Stage 9 is our final stage. After the collateral assets have been approved, there's nothing more to do. You have reached the end of your project and you are ready to start the offboarding process. During this process, I will export every file in every single color, which is a long and tedious process but necessary. I will put all the files in different folders, and once the final invoice is paid, never before that, I will send the files to the client using WeTransfer. On the portal, I will also add a goodbye document where I give the client an overview of everything that we have done, that we have achieved, and I also let them know how much I enjoyed working with them, and if they want to come back for more, they will have a client discount. Nurture your relationship with your clients, you guys. It's so important. Another thing that I add is an explanation of every single file type that I will send, so they know what they are and how they should use them. Last but not least, probably the most important part of the offboarding process, the brand guidelines. All my clients receive a 30+ page guide which contains every single detail and information about the branding, the fonts, the color codes, what every logo is and when to use it. This document will be their Bible, I don't know. They will use that every time they need to use use the branding to make sure they keep it consistent to what we agreed on. All they need to know is there. The very last step is actually optional, and it's the review and testimonial. On my portal, I have a section where clients can leave a review of my services so I can post it on social media and on my website. They all do, so I'm pretty sure this system is working out for me. Alright, this concludes my client process. I'm sure that this video is going to be super long, but there is a reason why these projects take up to 7 weeks to finish. I hope that after this video you will have a smoother and more efficient client process. But if you're just starting out and you need a little extra help, you can find all the templates that I personally use for my clients on my shop. I've worked really hard to make sure that these templates would be accessible to any designer, no matter how advanced you are in your career. So I would really appreciate if you consider buying them. And they're also available in Italian for my Italian besties. And yeah, I don't want to keep you any longer. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this, like the video if you enjoyed it, and follow me on all my social media, especially Instagram. And if now you want to chill and you want to watch me design the brand that I've used throughout this video, then check out this one here. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again in another video next week. Ciao!